My fork stops halfway to my mouth, holding sweet potato casserole. My father's words cut through the quiet sounds of Thanksgiving dinner. "You're nothing but a leech. It's time for you to leave this house." The sweet potato suddenly looks strange and unappealing. The dining room becomes so silent that I can hear the old clock ticking in the living room. It's the same clock I paid to fix last month. I look at my mother, hoping for support. But Denise only stares at her plate, moving around green beans she hasn't eaten. Across from me, my 17-year-old sister Tessa stares wide-eyed at her half-full glass of water. What makes this hurt so much is the timing. I spent all morning in the kitchen, cooking the turkey, potatoes, and 3 pies, while they watched football. Just 20 minutes ago, I told them about my job promotion. Now, as steam rises from the food I made, my father says, "I am not welcome here." The irony is clear. My name is on the electric bill that powers these lights, the water bill that filled these glasses, the grocery receipt for this meal, and the insurance that paid for my mother's doctor visit last week. Yet somehow, I am called the burden. 3 months ago, when Mom lost her job, I immediately stepped in. The bills piled up, and Dad's part-time hardware store job only covered the mortgage. I began paying for everything else: utilities, groceries, car insurance, and Mom's medical bills. Every month, more accounts moved under my name. And every month, Dad grew colder and angrier. He used to sign for everything in this house, but his role faded. 2 weeks ago, I overheard him talking to Mr. Simmons next door. "It's not right," he said. "She acts like she owns the place now." I didn't realize he meant me until I heard him say my name. Now Dad stares at me, his jaw tight, waiting for me to cry or protest. I keep eating. His knuckles turn white around his fork. The sweet potato tastes like nothing, but I chew and swallow. "Did you hear what I said?" His voice grows louder. "You need to be out by the weekend." My hands shake, not from fear, but from something deeper. I put down my fork, set my napkin on the table, and look at him. I understand perfectly. I repeat the words calmly. Dad blinks, surprised by my steady voice. The silence stretches until Mom finally speaks, not to defend me, but to ask, "Blair, you'll still pay the medical insurance this month, right? I have an appointment Tuesday." And just like that, the truth is clear. I am not family. I am just a wallet. Not a daughter, only the one who pays. I stand, take my plate, and Tessa's empty glass. "Of course, Mom," I say. My voice stays steady even though my chest feels hollow. "I'll take care of it before I go." As I walk to the kitchen, my mind lists everything in this house tied to my name. The internet I upgraded for Tessa's schoolwork, the fridge I replaced in July, the utilities I saved from disconnection. I rinse my plate, scrape food into the disposal. Through the window, I see my car in the driveway, the only thing I own that isn't tied to this house. At least I'll still have that. Behind me, Tessa brings her plate to the sink. She doesn't look at me, but her fingers brush my wrist for a moment. It is the closest thing to comfort I've felt in months. Later that night, the clock on my nightstand shows 1:18 a.m. I fold another sweater into my suitcase. Sleep is impossible. I keep packing, my body moving while my mind spins. I open my desk drawer to gather financial documents, insurance papers, utility bills, grocery receipts. But under them, I find a paper bank statement with Dad's name. Strange. We switched to online bills months ago. I pull it out, then more. A stack of statements from the last 3 months. They show a secret account with money growing each month, while I've been emptying my savings to keep the lights on. July, $4,000. August, $5,000. Now, nearly $7,000. I find a boat dealer's brochure with Dad's handwriting. Down payment, $5,500. Schedule delivery after Thanksgiving. A fishing boat. While I paid for Mom's doctor visits and Tessa's internet, Dad saved for a boat. There's more. A notepad with November, bill dates, my name next to question marks. After bills paid, underlined. They planned this. They waited until I covered November before kicking me out. A soft knock on my door. Tessa slips inside, eyes wide at my packed bags. "You're really leaving?" she asked quietly. "Yes." Dad didn't give me much choice. I tucked the bank statements into my purse. Tessa bites her lip. "Mom said they need your room for storage. Now that Dad's buying that boat." The word hits me like a punch. "Boat?" she whispers. "I heard them planning weeks ago, waiting until after you paid November's bills." "You knew?" I ask. Tessa's eyes fill with tears. "I was scared. Dad said anyone who warned you would be next." I want to be angry, but she is still a child trapped in the same toxic house. "There's more," she says nervously. "Those medical appointments Mom's been having, the ones you paid for. What about them?" Last week, she came home with swollen lips. She said the doctor told her no straws for 2 days. Tessa mimics Mom's eye roll. "It wasn't a checkup, Blair. It was fillers." The room spins. I've been eating cheap noodles to stretch my budget, while Mom used my insurance for cosmetic work. I show Tessa my bank app, $763.42. 3 months ago, I had over $9,000. This is all that's left. I tell Tessa that if I had stayed 1 more month, I would have nothing left. Saying it out loud makes me realize how bad my situation is. I've been pouring all my money into a family that treats me like an ATM. Dad said if you take any furniture, he'll report you for theft, Tessa says. "Even the things you bought." "Of course he did," I reply, looking around at the desk I bought for remote work, the bookshelf I built, the bedding from my first paycheck. "He also called the bank today to get your name off the utility accounts," Tessa adds. Suddenly, the urgency hits me. I need to find housing, protect my money, and remove myself from their accounts before they do more damage. I reach under my bed and pull out a shoebox. Inside are receipts for everything I bought, organized, dated, and attached to credit card, statements. The desk, the refrigerator, Tessa's laptop, the carpet, even the utility bills, all with my name as the account holder. It feels like a small victory, proof I'm not crazy, proof I've been carrying this house while they plotted against me. Tessa watches silently, then asks, "Blair, what would you do in my place? Would you stand up for what's right? Or keep peace in the only home you have?" Sorting through the papers, I realize I face the same choice. Should I confront them with proof of their lies? Or just leave quietly and let them face the results later? There is no easy answer when the people who should love you only value what you provide. 3 days later, during lunch at my part-time job, my Aunt Phyllis calls. Her voice is sharp, each word like a slap. "Honestly, Blair, I never thought you'd abandon your parents when they needed you most." I grip the phone, knuckles white. It's only been 3 days since Thanksgiving, and already Dad has spread his version of the story. "Did Dad mention he kicked me out?" I ask calmly. "He said you left them high and dry after a little disagreement," she says, full of judgment. "They're holding a family meeting this weekend to discuss your behavior." Of course, they are. A stage for their lies. "I'm sure they are," I reply, and hang up before she can say more. After my shift, I go to my friend Drew's apartment. I sit on the pull-out couch, now my temporary bed. My whole life is in 4 boxes and 2 suitcases stacked by the wall. Everything else sits in my car. 25 years of life reduced to what I could grab in 2 hours while my parents were at church. My phone buzzes again. Another text from a cousin who thinks I broke Mom's heart. I don't open it. Each notification makes my chest tighten. I never know which relative will attack next. When Drew comes home from her hospital shift, she sees me sitting on the floor surrounded by paperwork. Operation Financial Freedom going. Well? She asks. Almost, I say, tapping my notebook full of account numbers. I've canceled their automatic bill payments, removed myself from their phone plan, and taken my name off their internet service. What I don't tell her is how the customer service rep laughed when I explained I was removing myself from my parents' bills. Good, Drew says, sitting down. Your parents can deal with their own mess. But the weight of starting over presses on me. My savings account is almost empty, just enough for a security deposit, not rent plus deposit. You sure? Your roommate doesn't mind me staying here? I ask. Max? He's fine with it, Drew answers. Just then, Max bursts in with his giant golden retriever, Baxter. Blair, he announces. Meet the world's worst therapist, but he works for treats. He throws a tennis ball. Baxter chases it, then drops the slimy ball in my lap. He thinks you need this more than he does, Max says seriously. Sometimes the best therapy has 4 legs and bad breath. Baxter nudges me with his wet nose, and for the first time in days, I laugh. The sound feels strange but good. 5 days after leaving home, I sit at Drew's kitchen table, looking at job listings. My current job pays the basics, but not enough to rebuild my savings. My phone lights up. It's Mom. I almost let it go to voicemail, but answer. What have you done? Denise cries. The power's out, the internet's down, and my insurance was declined at the doctor. I breathe slowly. I stopped paying for things that weren't my responsibility. Your father didn't mean it, she says quickly. You know how he gets. I do, I say. That's the problem. I end the call and set my phone down gently, as if it might burn me. Later, Drew leans over my shoulder as I change my email and banking passwords. There are suspicious login attempts on your accounts, she says. We should set up fraud alerts. The difference strikes me. While my family felt entitled to everything I owned, Drew waits respectfully for my response instead of taking over. Good idea, I say. Thanks. That night I scroll through cheap apartment listings. Most are small studios, but they mean something important. A place that's mine, where no one can say I don't belong. I don't ask for advice about neighborhoods or kitchens. These choices are mine alone. The next morning, I go to a credit union and open a new account in only my name. I transfer all my money from the account my parents know about. A text from Tessa appears. Mom's looking for your banking info. Don't trust her. Right after, 6 missed calls from home. Then an email, fraud alert, password reset attempt on your bank app. Anger rises. They're not only trying to guilt me into coming back, they're trying to steal the little I have left. The next day, a bank worker confirms my fears. Miss Mitchell, we blocked 3 password reset attempts from your parents, home in the last 24 hours. I pace Drew's spare room, holding the phone tight. You're sure they can't get in? Positive. We added special security. Any changes need in-person ID. Relief loosens my chest. I thank her and note her name in my documentation notebook. Step by step, I lock everything down. Credit cards safe, utilities removed from my name, medical insurance protected with extra checks. Even the electric company confirmed. Smart. Move. Your mother called yesterday trying to put the bill back in your name. Each confirmation is like a brick in a wall I'm building. Not just a wall of anger, though it simmers, but of protection. My protection. Drew appears with tea. With, honey, thought you needed it after all those calls. I wrap my hands around the mug. Last one done. No one can touch my accounts now. How does it feel? Drew asks. Before I can answer, loud pounding shakes the door. Tea spills on my fingers. Blair! My father's voice roars. Open this door now! Drew gestures for me to stay, back, but I move forward. I've known this was coming. Through the peephole, I see his red, furious face. He pounds harder. You think you can just abandon your family? Destroy our lives? Across the hall, Mrs. Perkins, an elderly neighbor, peeks out. Young man, I've already called building security. Mind your business, lady. Frank snaps. It is my business when you disturb the peace, she answers, standing firm. Frank turns back to the door, voice low and dangerous. Blair, if you don't open this door, I'll... He kicks hard. The wood splinters around the lock. Mrs. Perkins gasps and runs inside. My hands shake as I call 911. Security arrives quickly. Sir, step away from the door, the guard orders. This is my daughter's place, Frank shouts. You have no right to break property. Police are on the way. Sirens wail outside. Minutes later, 2 officers cuff my father and lead him away, still shouting that I destroyed the family. Officer Rodriguez takes my statement. I speak calmly, describing the financial abuse, the password attempts, and the break-in. Would you like to press charges? He asks. Yes, I answer firmly, and I want a restraining order. Later, I watch the police car drive off with my father inside. I wonder, was this too harsh? Or was it finally the right step to protect myself? Drew rests a hand on my shoulder. Max is bringing security cameras. We'll set them up tonight. Just then, a text from Tessa. Mom took your laptop and camera. Said they're collateral for what you owe. My stomach drops. Do you know where? I reply. She called Parkway Pawn. Got $300 for both. Anger flares. Those were worth over $2,000. Do you have the receipts? Drew asks. Yes, and serial numbers. An hour later, Officer Williams takes my theft report. She studies my receipts. Pawning stolen property is a crime, she explains. We'll contact the shop and recover your items. For once, the system is on my side. The reversal makes me dizzy with hope. That evening, relatives begin calling. Aunt Sarah leaves a message. Blair, honey, I'm so sorry. We had no idea things were so bad. Neighbors who saw Frank's rage have spread the truth. The story shifts, cracks forming in the lies my parents told. As Max mounts the camera, another text arrives from Mom. I had to pawn your laptop and camera to cover the electric bill. You owe me $300 plus interest. I hand the phone to Drew. She shakes her head. The delusion is almost impressive. I save the message as evidence. My anger isn't at her words. It's at myself for believing I deserved this treatment for so long. That thought hardens into determination as I finish setting up the camera. This time, I'm the one watching. My phone buzzes. Mom's name flashes. I've been waiting. 3 days since I filed the theft report, and now they're ready to talk. Blair? Mom's voice trembles. That night, Mom calls. I've been thinking, she says. I want to offer a compromise. I stay silent, letting her words fill the space. The TV in the background plays the same game show we used to watch together. If you drop that silly theft report, you can come back. Home. Your room is still there. Her voice sounds practiced, like Dad is standing nearby coaching her. And Blair? She adds. We should also talk about your state of mind. Frank and I are worried you're having some kind of breakdown. That's something family would understand better than the story you're telling. The threat is clear. Drop the charges or be called unstable. I breathe slowly. I have copies of every bill I paid for the last 6 months. Bank statements showing transfers to your account. Texts asking me to pay for your cosmetic procedures that you called medical needs. I pause. Would you like me to show all? of that as evidence? Her silence says everything. The next morning, Officer Williams follows me to my parents' house. Her cruiser in the driveway is proof to the neighbors that the lies my father spread aren't true. Curtains twitch as people peek out. Mom opens the door, her smile fading when she sees the officer. "Mrs. Mitchell," the officer says, "I'm here while Blair collects her belongings." Inside, the house feels smaller. Mom lingers as I head to my room, Officer Williams beside me. "I've prepared proof of everything I've paid," I explain, handing over a folder. The officer flips through, utilities, groceries, medical bills, even the refrigerator I bought. "You paid for all of this while living here?" she asks. "Yes, since Mom lost her job." Mom appears in the doorway, arms crossed. "That furniture belongs to the family. You can't just take everything." I hold up my receipts. "I have proof for all of it. Want to see?" The officer looks at Mom, then at the papers. "Mrs. Mitchell, these records show your daughter supported this house almost entirely." Mom's mouth opens, then shuts. She walks away without a word. I pack calmly. Clothes, books, and everything clearly mine. Outside, neighbors pretend to water plants or check mail, but I know they're watching. Let them. Let them see the truth. When the last box is in my car, I turn to lock the door. An engine rumbles. My other car, the one I left at Drew's, pulls up. Dad is behind the wheel. My stomach drops. The spare key, I'd forgotten. He steps out, jingling the keys proudly. "We need to talk about what you owe before you take this." I set down my box, pull out my folder, and hold up documents. This is the title. This is the registration. Both in my name. Officer Williams steps forward. "Sir, the car is registered to Blair. Hand over the keys." Dad's face drains of color. He tightens his grip. "I paid for her college, her braces, 18 years. The keys, Mr. Mitchell." The officer holds out her hand. Slowly, Dad drops the keys. The sound is soft, but final. She gives them to me, and for the first time I see him completely defeated. The man who ruled our family now looks small. "Come near me or my things again," I say firmly, "and I'll file for a restraining order." I slide into the car, start the engine, and drive off. Neighbors still watch. Mrs. Henderson doesn't even pretend to be checking her mail. She's openly filming, ready to spread the news. At the doorway, I glimpse Tessa. One foot inside the house, one hand lifted in a small wave. Her face is full of sadness, but also something else. Admiration. The strength she hasn't found yet. 3 blocks away, my phone buzzes. A text from Tessa. They're blaming me now. What do I do? The traffic light turns red. I press the brake and stare at my phone. 3 dots appear as Tessa types, then vanish. My sister, the only innocent one, now stands where... I run my fingers along my desk, where my bills are neatly stacked. Electricity, water, internet, renter's insurance. All in my name. All within budget. No one else's crisis is hiding inside these envelopes. My bank statement lies open beside them, showing small but steady growth. The emergency fund I drained for my family is slowly rebuilding. My goal is 6 months of savings. I already have 2. The simple joy of making decisions without needing approval still feels new. Last weekend I painted one wall dark teal, just because I wanted to. No one told me I'd regret it. That freedom, even in small things, feels huge. A year later, my apartment is filled with warm voices and laughter. I set a golden brown turkey on the table. Smaller than last year's, but perfect. Hosting Thanksgiving feels ironic, but right. "Can I help?" Tessa asks, hovering by the counter. She seems taller. Not in height, but in confidence. Life away from our parents is shaping her. Your company is enough, I tell her. The word's easy now. No more silent math in my head, measuring love in money. The table is mismatched, the dishes secondhand, but everything here is mine, chosen freely, not out of duty. Drew lifts her glass. To found family, and to boundaries worth keeping. Max and Tessa raise theirs too. Tessa has flourished. Since moving into her college dorm 3 months ago, I guided her through financial aid and housing forms, my hard lessons becoming her stepping stones. Later, as we work on scholarship applications at my kitchen counter, she shares the latest family news. They lost the house last month, she says softly. Dad's still blaming the bank, the economy, anyone but himself. They're with Uncle Rick, but he wants them out soon. I nod, my eyes drifting to the bookshelf. 5 unopened letters from my parents sit there. Boundaries don't stop me from wondering what they say. They still blame you for everything, Tessa adds. But really, they're just facing what was coming anyway. Your money only delayed it. I highlight a section on her form, thinking about choices and consequences. As I help Tessa build her independent life, I sometimes wonder if I should respond to my parents. Is total separation the healthiest choice when family has betrayed you so deeply? Or is there value in allowing limited contact, but only on my own terms? What would you do when the people who should have protected you want back?